Robert Mueller's anti-Trump Russia witch hunt has been a disgrace. Despite the fact that he has come up with virtually nothing on Trump, his probe has been front and center in the media. But with new information coming from the Justice Department, the entire Russia investigation could be coming to an end very quickly. President Donald Trump's Department of Justice has been putting out information proving the bias in Mueller's Russia investigation. After running the investigation for many months, and coming up with almost nothing on the president, it is clear the investigation is only continuing on for political reasons. The Department of Justice has taken note of that and has done their part to prove it by releasing text messages between two top investigators that prove their bias against Trump. In the released text messages, the president is referred to as a loathsome human and an idiot. As reported by Politico, amid a rising drumbeat of Republican criticism of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe, members of Congress and former prosecutors say the Justice Department has amped up the pressure by quietly putting out information bolstering claims that the investigation is unfairly biased against President Donald Trump. Through a series of small and sometimes subtle moves, DOJ's actions appear to run counter to the goal of keeping Mueller's probe free of political meddling. I think that it appears to me that DOJ leadership is doing what it can to please their boss, which is ultimately the President of the United States, said Renato Mariotti, a former federal prosecutor. They're doing whatever they can to please him without violating the law. The latest example came earlier this week when justice officials convened a small media briefing for a select group of reporters who were shown private text messages sent between two investigators who formerly served on Mueller's team. That briefing, held in the midst of an ongoing Inspector General investigation, and reportedly offered to the press before members of the House panel had seen the messages, was described as very odd and unprofessional by Samuel Buell, a former assistant U.S. attorney and Duke University Law School professor. It shouldn't surprise anyone that there are people in the political appointee realm at DOJ who are rooting for Mueller to fail, said Buell. That doesn't mean they are going to be prepared to actually try to derail him. It all merits vigilance. While any Trump-supporting American is happy about this common-sense move by the Justice Department, not everyone is. As is stated in the article above, Renato Mariotti, a former federal prosecutor, feels the move to release information proving the bias in the investigation is just a way for the Justice Department to please their boss, President Trump. What the article doesn't mention about Mariotti is that he's a fiercely anti-Trump liberal who is running for Attorney General in Illinois. It's not surprising the media left that part out. Do you support this move by the Justice Department? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
This is a Fox News alert. Documents obtained exclusively by this show a few hours ago show that yet another key player in the Mueller independent counsel investigation has deep ties to the Democratic Party establishment. His name is Aaron Zebley. He is described in media reports as Mueller's right-hand man. Back in 2015, Zebley was a lawyer in private practice, and he represented Hillary Clinton IT staffer Justin Cooper. Cooper is the one who, personally put in the Secretary of State's private illegal server in her Chappaqua home. Congressional investigators sought to meet with Cooper, but they were stonewalled again and again by Zebley. Documents that we obtained today show the frustration of the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee in trying to get to Mr. Cooper because, and we're quoting now, Mr. Zebley telephoned Homeland Security Committee staff to inform them that Cooper had chosen to cancel the interview. In a letter to Cooper, congressional investigators complained that, quote, "We are troubled by your attorney," referring to Zebley, "his complete refusal to engage the committee in a discussion about how to further assuage your concerns." Take that in for a minute. A lawyer who played a defense role in the federal investigation into Hillary Clinton is now playing an offensive role in the federal investigation into President Trump. This is not the first time the Mueller probe has been dogged by questions of partisanship. FBI official Peter Strzok, we've been telling you about all week, was removed from that probe, demoted to the HR office over at the FBI, following the discovery of anti-Trump text messages and pro-Hillary text messages he had sent to his mistress, also an FBI employee. The investigative team over there includes the Mueller team, Kyle Freeney, he's an Obama donor, and Jeannie Rhee, who once represented the Clinton Foundation. To make matters even messier for the Justice Department, by the way, a senior official recently demoted amid an investigation into his contacts with the opposition research firm that produced the now discredited Trump dossier. Initially, Justice Department officials would not provide the reason for the official's demotion, but details were later turned over by Congressman Devin Nunes, who found the official had met with Christopher Steele, the former British spy and author of the dossier, back during the last campaign. Boy, it's a lot to digest. All of it comes as FBI Director Chris Wray was grilled by Congress this afternoon. Take a look at part of that.
I'd ask you again, surely you've examined the definition and the distinction between extreme carelessness and also extreme carelessness and the gross negligence that's within the statute. You really going to tell us today that you don't have an opinion on that distinction?
Gross negligence is the language in the statute, I believe. But I believe also that almost anybody who grabbed a thesaurus would say that gross negligence and extremely careless are pretty darn close to each other.
So if they're close to each other, then why change it? That's the question Steve King might have been getting to. Congressman Steve King of Iowa joins us on the set tonight. Congressman, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Tucker.
So before I ask you about your hearing today, this news that Aaron Zebley, who is working with former Director Mueller, head of this investigation, once was the personal lawyer of Hillary Clinton's IT guy and blocked him from coming to Congress. Why would Mueller hire an obvious Democratic partisan for a politically sensitive job like this?
You know, this whole thing screams of conflict of interest along the way. And the question was asked today of Director Wray, and we didn't get a lot of answers from him, but he's got a difficult tightrope he needs to walk here, too. But the question was asked, essentially, did you have a criteria that they needed to be pro-Clinton in order to be part of the team? Or did Director Mueller have that require that you need to be pro-Clinton? Or was it just happenstance, and where the only people he knew to tap into was I'll say the group of people who are Clinton partisans. But it looks like every single one of them is a Clinton partisan.
What's so grotesque and ironic about it is the whole point of the independent counsel statute is to reassure the public that the investigation is above politics. That's why it's taken out of the hands of the DOJ leadership. So you'd think that Mueller would go out of his way to make certain that no one on his team could be accused of partisanship, and yet almost all of them seem to have ties to the Democratic Party.
If not everyone. And then I thought Trey Gowdy made a really good point today when he said, if you're a jury of someone's peers, every day in America, people are called together, 12 peers sitting there, and they are forbidden from even deliberating on the evidence in front of them until the last evidence is in, and then they get their jury instructions, then they go back into the room and deliberate. But in this case, we've got decisions coming out. We've got Comey deciding before he issued the statement in July 5th of a year ago, July 5th, the conclusion that was going to come with the investigation of Hillary Clinton. Another thing that I brought up to Christopher Wray today is that the testimony that we have from Comey, from Loretta Lynch, is each of them appointed 3 members, 3 of FBI, 3 of DOJ, to interview Hillary Clinton, to investigate in the, quote, matter, which we know was an investigation. But there's no audio tape of that investigation. There's no video of that. There is no transcript. There are only the notes of the investigators and that's essentially proprietary. So the advice that Comey gave was not based upon any text of anything or any evidence of anything. It was just the briefing of the 3 agents that he'd appointed.
Let me just bottom line it. Would any normal American, you or me, have been treated in this way by the FBI?
I don't know. I don't know. Not on the favoritism side. They wouldn't have been. But I'd ask also this question. It was if Michael Flynn can be guilty of lying to the FBI, how would the FBI know if Hillary Clinton lied to them if they don't have any kind of tape or video?